For today's event, we're delighted to welcome Sam Bird to the FCC. Sam is a professional racing driver, which he has been since he was about 16 years old. In a very lengthy and successful career, Sam won numerous races in the UK as he worked his way up into Formula 3. So I'm going to invite Sam up here now to come and start this conversation. We'd like as many of you as possible to join in, so if you do have a question or any comment you'd like to make, please stick your hand up and we'll make sure you do it. Sam.
This picture, I haven't seen this picture for like 7 years. A little bit of history. Tim helped me for the Macau Grand Prix 7 years ago. We actually got on the podium in Macau, so I don't know whether that was the actual day where we got on the podium, Tim, but
We'll be coming back to that one a bit later.
yeah, okay. So we're here for Formula E. Very exciting to be here to start, season 3 in this all-new fully electric racing series, which is going from strength to strength, guys. People compare it to Formula 1. People compare it to World Endurance Championship. This is, without doubt, the fastest growing motorsport industry currently. All the big manufacturers want to be involved with Formula E, and it's clear to see why. It's a fully electric racing series. Anyway, I'll stop waffling on. If anybody's got any...
If I can kick off there, Sam.
Yeah.
Your career was entirely based in conventional racing cars beforehand. When you got asked to do Formula E, what did you think? Did you think, I don't want to drive a milk float? Or do you think this is going to be something exciting? And what are the big differences that you had to adopt in terms of the way you drive a race?
Well, I was doing my reserve driver duties for Mercedes AMG Petronas and also GP2 in 2013, and I was close to getting a drive with Toro Rosso, and I was close to getting a drive with Caterham, but both of those fell through. And it was about time that I left Formula One or left Mercedes, because sitting as a reserve driver and drinking coffee isn't really very fun. When you go to 20 cities and your only role is to drink coffee, it becomes quite tedious. So I was looking outside the box. I needed something new, something fresh, something exciting, and I spoke with Alex Tye, who is the boss of Virgin Racing. Was it a risk? Yes, but it's a risk that has really paid off. I'm so thankful that I took that meeting and that I went down that avenue, because I wouldn't be stood here today. I wouldn't be a race winner in Formula E, and it's a series, like I said, that is progressing from strength to strength, and I'm so happy that I'm involved in an electric racing series.
Sam, I'll just jump in. Yeah, one thing obviously is the fact you change cars halfway through the race, but I think that's going to change, isn't it? Can you tell us a bit about how the formula is going to develop in the next 2 or 3 years?
So from season 1 till season 4, we've had this system where we have 2 cars. Both cars has 28 kilowatts per car. We basically run that down to as close to zero as we can possibly get it, which is roughly half the race, or 1 or 2 laps after the halfway mark, according to your strategy. And then you do a pit stop. You come into your garage. I will literally leap out of one car, jump into the other one, get strapped in. They've got sensors to make sure that they have actually strapped me in. Turn the second car on, and off I go for the second part of the race. We have an allotted time period to do this pit stop. Anything below that allotted time period, you get a penalty. But obviously you want to be close to the mark, as like anything in motorsport. For season 5, though, new technology will be coming into play, and we'll have 1 car per race. So that just shows how we are advancing technology-wise. McLaren have got the tender to do the new battery, whereas Williams have been doing it for season 1 to 4. And all the different manufacturers are working extremely hard on developing drivetrains and motors that can eke out a little bit more performance than the other manufacturers during each race.
You've, at the start of the series, everybody was using the same standard car and powertrain, weren't
Yep.
they? Now people are going their own way. It's going to be a standard battery. But is this going to lead to an arms race amongst the manufacturers? They're going to force the costs up, and then you're going to have the same problems that virtually every motor racing series seems to have.
They seem to have a pretty good hold on it at the moment. There is already a manufacturer's race. Everybody is developing their own drivetrain and their own motors. Everybody's going down different avenues. Some people have carbon casing, some people don't have the money for that. Some people have one gear and twin motors. Some people have single motor and double and triple or quadruple gears. So there's a wide variety of machinery that you will see on show on Sunday. You won't be able to physically see it, but it'll be underneath there, obviously the engine cover. You know, a massive variety of different things.
And can you tell us what they're like to drive compared to the regular race cars?
Okay, they're not 200-mile-an-hour monsters, and it's not a great big noisy shouty V8 that wants to spit you off at every moment, but the torque is delivery is instantaneous, as you can imagine with an electric car. So that's quite punchy, and genuinely at 200 kilowatt, which is the qualifying mode, it's probably the most terrifying thing I've ever driven, considering it's not very quick. We're on bumpy street circuits. We have one lap to deliver a qualifying lap. If not, you're not going to be doing well this weekend. So you've put everything on the line for this one lap. You're millimeters away from walls at 130 mile an hour, and you don't know whether the car's going to lock the front brakes, lock the rear brakes, lock all four. You're going to have understeer into a corner, oversteer. Genuinely, these cars are a handful to drive.
Also this weekend, we've got this driverless car, the Robo Race car.
Yes.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, sport, even motor racing, it's all about human endeavour. I mean, are you worried about your job?
No, I'm not worried about my job. The whole point in sport, the word sport, means that there needs to be a human element. As we were speaking downstairs in the bar earlier while Tim was on his third pint. That's lies, by the way, he wasn't. Sport is a very personal thing. You need to have a human being, an element to have the emotion and the passion attached to it. Robo Race will not have that, but it will be an amazing showcase on look where technology is going. Look what we can achieve in the future. That's I think that's the whole point for Robo Race. I think it will be a fun spectacle, so long as you see it as just a spectacle and a showcase rather than a race or a sporting event.
And Formula E, I mean, its relevance to advances in automotive technology. I mean, in Hong Kong, you'll notice so many people are driving Teslas here.
Yeah, I've literally have counted about 8 today already.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, this is a town that really suits electric cars because we don't drive great distances. Are you actually, the manufacturers that are coming in, I mean, they are really seeing this about not just a good promotional exercise, but the technology really is transferring directly to electric road cars?
Absolutely, otherwise these manufacturers would not be getting involved. The technology that you are seeing in our racing cars will hopefully, in the near future, go onto the production line platform and be in road cars in the the next generation of BMW i8s, be in the first generation of DS Performance hybrid or stroke electric vehicles, whatever Audi are bringing up, whatever Jaguar are going to do next. So this is a platform for them to showcase what they will be producing in the future.
So how important was that weekend and that whole Macau experience in your career, and how do you look back on it? Do you think Formula E can ever get that sort of buzz that we have on that third weekend in November every year?
It was a huge weekend for me. I don't know whether you guys noticed, but I was driving for a team called Art Grand Prix, which, if anybody knows motorsport, that is the team to be with in junior Formula racing. If you sign for them, you know you're getting the correct machinery in order to do the best job that you can and try and win championships. The job that I did in Macau enabled me to sign for them in GP2. I was fortunate enough to sign alongside Jules Bianchi, who at the time was the up-and-coming young driver. And I'm proud to say that I held my own against Jules. We had some great battles. It was very close in the championship. I think at the end there was only 1 or 2 points separating us, and we became close friends. And it was a friendship that I will treasure forever.
And Macau itself, do you think it still is relevant and still an important event for a young driver?
Macau as an event is, I think, very important. It's the people remember the champion. So if you are the British Formula 3 champion or the European F3 champion, people remember the name of these drivers. But people remember the Macau champion just as much. It's just as important as a whole season of racing. If you can win that race, it's the last one of the season. It stays in people's minds, and it's so difficult to win that it is vital to a young driver's career. If you can win this one, it puts you on the right map. You look at all the previous winners. They've all made a name for themselves in motorsport. They are all now, paid professionals with the manufacturers. In fact, we're probably going to see 5 or 6 ex-winners here this weekend. We've got Lucas Di Grassi, we've got Duval, who was on pole position here, myself, Antonio Felix da Costa's here, who won it in 2012 or 13. Many drivers who have done well in Macau, you'll see here, but they're also in F1. They're also in DTM, they're in WEC, so it is very important. Okay,
Sam, you haven't driven the circuit, but you said you've done it many times in the simulator. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us how does the Hong Kong track stack up against the other circuits you race on?
Yeah, Formula E tracks are quite short, actually, guys. It's not like the typical 5.5, 6 kilometre circuits that you see in F1. They're more like 2 kilometres or 2.2. Quite short street circuits. This one is the same, pretty much. It's around 2.1 kilometres long. We're expecting lap times of just over a minute. It's going to be a 45 lap race. The track is predominantly slow speed corners with a couple of high speed left-handers, actually, which should be quite interesting. It's clockwise, a couple of big braking zones, and I reckon 2 to 3 good overtaking opportunities. So I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, when we saw in that film, people don't seem to be afraid to get their elbows out in Formula E. Driving standards, everything. These are all sort of top-level professionals, but this isn't like a normal circuit where you've got a bit of room to run off.
No, exactly. When you make a mistake, it's you don't just drive off and come back on again. You're in the wall. That's the end of it. There are some close encounters in this championship. People do. It's tight. People are fighting tooth and nail for every single position. We are on street circuits, but we overtake as much, if not more, than normal cars on normal circuits, to be honest.
And the weather forecast for this weekend is showers. What do they like to drive in the rain?
Honestly, I think everybody would be terrified of driving these things in the wet around street circuits. They're slippery enough in the dry, so it'll be chaos. Honestly, you'll see a really expensive car park, I reckon, at turn 1. So we'll see. We'll see what the forecast says. We actually haven't had a wet race yet. We've done a bit of testing at Donington in the wet, but that's about it. We've never used the monsoon tyre, which is sort of the super wet tyre. I think they're going to bring them. Well, I hope they've brought them with us. Yeah, we need to ask Michelin.
Anybody got any questions from the audience? Yeah.
The essence of Formula E is all about battery. But looking forward, and I'm pleased to hear somebody said that the Season 4 or Season 5 cars will actually last a race distance.
Yeah.
Because for me, frankly, as a bit of an old petrol head, one of the things that sort of devalues Formula E at the moment is the fact that you have to jump into a car because it can't go all the way around. So that's a big step forward. But is there also going to be an opportunity to develop aero packages and chassis designs going forward? Or is that something that is rigid and everybody has to comply?
I think that's one of the areas that I'm sure manufacturers would love to, but if we start to do that, the costs will escalate and the big manufacturers will completely dominate the sport. The great thing right now is that you've got 10 teams out there and any one of them could potentially win, because it's down to the driver getting on well with the engineer, and of course the package has got to be good, but it's how the driver drives it at the end of the day. If we start having some people with basic aerodynamics and some people with very trick stuff, it becomes a 1 or 2 horse race, just like we're seeing currently in Formula One. And it's quite exciting when you get 6 or 7 or 8 different race winners in a season in Formula E compared to 3 in Formula One. I think. With regards to the battery technology, yeah, it is a big move forwards, and that's why you're seeing Mercedes, BMW, potentially some other big names as well, wanting to come in season 5, because they believe that the one car thing is very important as a what does it say when you have to come in halfway through the race to change? Having said that, Formula One back in the day, you didn't have a fuel tank big enough to make it to the end of the race, and you had 3 fuel stops per race. So, I mean, and nobody complained about this. There's different ways of looking at it.
Hi, Sam. I'm a big Formula One fan. You left Formula One in 2013, which some might describe as a sort of starting on the wane for the last couple of years, and the loss.
And it's because I left.
Probably, yeah. That's what I'm trying to
say.
How long do you think? I mean, the extreme growth of Formula E has been down some part to the sort of innovative ideas, things like fan boost and all that sort of stuff. How long do you think it's going to be before you're going to start influencing Formula One?
Formula E has no ideas about challenging Formula One as a series, or has anything to do with Formula One. I'm an F1 fan still. With my work at Ferrari, I still do some bits with the Scuderia Ferrari occasionally. Not very much, but I still get slightly involved. Formula E is growing very, very rapidly, and it will sit nicely alongside Formula One as a top-line single-seater formula, but as an electric single-seater formula. That I don't think Formula One is under any threat. Of course, we want to see as many fans as possible following Formula E, but there should always and will always be a place for Formula One, for the purists and for everybody to be able to enjoy. I find it sad watching Formula One currently. I find it sad that there is one team that dominates. Everybody else is playing for third and worse. But that's the way it is currently. I miss the noise. But again, they had to evolve because V8 is sort of old now. You know, they needed to evolve into hybrid technology because that's the way of the world. They needed to show that they were progressing as well. But I really do hope that Formula One rises up again and does improve as a spectacle, because I do love it, and I'm sure everybody here would say the same. It is the pinnacle of single-seater motorsport, and we are the pinnacle of single-seater motorsport as an electric series. So it is different, and we're not aiming to, elbow out F1.
Sam, how big is Formula E going to be? You've got Jaguar coming in this weekend, Mercedes coming in season 5. Are we actually going to end up with a Formula E, a GP2, GP3 in Formula E? Is it going to grow that rapidly?
I really don't know. Good question. These are... It is growing massively. You're right. These names that are being battered around for future series are amazing. You've got BMW, you've got Mercedes. I've heard 2 more this morning that I don't want to name because I don't want to get in trouble. But I think there's already more manufacturers in Formula E than there are in Formula One, which can only be a good thing for Formula E. Whether or not we have a feeder series for Formula E, maybe that's something that Alejandro Agag is thinking about in the near future. Right now, it's not on the cards, but yeah, maybe once we move to a second generation chassis, maybe the feeder series uses the first generation. I really don't know.
Hi, Sam. Thank you for that. How far are we away from electric touring car racing?
Well, I heard that Tesla will be actually doing their own single make touring car series in the near future. So we're not that far away at all. If Tesla are doing it, it's going to be extremely professional. I believe that they are, one of the biggest brands in electric vehicles currently, and it's quite exciting for the electric, world to see them progressing and doing something like their own little GT championship. I think it's very cool. It's I can hear him. He's just there, mate. It's cool. Oh, okay.
I should know this, but I don't. Where are most of the Formula E teams based? I mean, it's impossible to imagine Ferrari not being in Italy, Williams not being in the UK.
Well, my Ferrari work is different to Formula E, so that's not Formula E based. All of the Formula E teams were originally based in Donington, but now that more manufacturers are coming on board, we're seeing everybody sort of branching out to different places. DS Virgin Racing, the development work is done at Satori, which is the head base for the Peugeot Citroën DS group. So our development's done there. Then we've got a headquarters in Donington. We may be moving elsewhere in the near future. We've got Audi Sport. Obviously, they'll have a base in Germany, and they have a base at Donington. We have Edam's Renault. They will have a base. I think they work a little bit out of the Renault F1 garages, and then they've got their place at Donington. It's becoming a bit more spread out now, but predominantly, as all motorsport, Oxfordshire and Donington and around Middle England.
Any further questions, Simon? Yes, Chris.
It's not necessarily a Formula E question. I was interested to hear your point of view. On that VT there, you had a number of pretty famous drivers, Ericsson, Ricciardo on the GP3. In your view, right now, regardless of whether it's Formula 1, Formula E, who's the quickest guy in a motor car?
Who's the quickest guy? What, in motorsport in general?
Motorsport in general, yeah.
I mean, the quickest guy. The quickest guy is Lewis.
Regardless of car, though.
Regardless of car, I think Lewis is, when he wakes up on the right side of the bed and he's happy and he hasn't had girlfriend troubles and everything's gone right for him, he is the most naturally talented, gifted, fastest, bravest guy on the planet who can wheel a racing car around a racing track. I mean, there's a gaggle of people that you could put behind him, but it's about getting the right drive at the right time and having the right backing, and there's so many different elements to it. I look back now and think if only this had been different, if only that had been different, maybe I could have had a break in Formula 1. And then who knows? I've raced the likes of Ricciardo, who is doing great things in Formula 1. I've raced Perez, I've raced many of the people who are now in Formula 1, and to see them there, when I left F1 as a reserve and went to do something different, was painful. To see them there and I wasn't in that group was quite difficult, because I felt like, well, I've raced them, I've beaten them, why am I different? But it's circumstance. I would say Lewis. I would say Fernando. I'd love to see that McLaren a bit quicker. I'd love to see a hungry Fernando Alonso again challenge, because I think that time is against him. I think that he's probably only got a few more years where he will be top of his game. So that would be great. Vettel, you can't discount Sebastian. He's phenomenal. And the new Mr. Verstappen. Regardless of how boisterous he can be on the race circuit, I think it's a good thing. You're there to overtake. You're there to try and win. If the old guys don't like it, well, tough. He's trying to do his job. It's not dangerous. It's overtaking. That's what we want to see.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, what's your favorite track so far? And the other question is, besides the sport, so there's so much entertainment value. What's your favorite city to host the Formula E so far?
My favorite track, genuinely, is Macau. I know it's not on the Formula E calendar, but to drive Macau is something very magical. And obviously you guys have got that coming up. I'm really jealous that I'm not there, and I'm going to be badgering Tim to give me a drive in something at some point in the next couple of years. My favourite Formula E track, I really enjoyed London, I've got to say. To win at my home city as well was very nice. Buenos Aires as well. I'm just going to name all the ones that I won because they're the nicest. City-wise, we are blessed, so blessed in Formula E that we visit some magnificent cities. And that's what's great about Formula E. We go right to the heart of the city to get the message across. We don't go to obscure racetracks 50, 60 miles away from any living human being like some racetracks are. This is right in the centre, so accessible to everybody and so visible, with some great backdrops. I think that this is going to be a spectacular backdrop. Paris, literally walking distance from the Eiffel Tower, was superb. There's rumours about a new race in London that would be just mind-blowing. I can't say where, but it would be mind-blowing. We've been to Miami, we've been to LA. Russia, we did right around the, what's it called? The Red Square. Yeah, that one. But we weren't allowed back again. We've been to some amazing places. It's unfair to name just one. This will be spectacular as well as a season opener. I can't think of a better place to have a season opener than Hong Kong.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Tim. Sam, I started following motor racing at Crystal Palace back in the mid-1960s. Now that would be an iconic area to put a Formula E race, but that wasn't going to be my question or my point. You were talking about the rapid growth of Formula E as a spectator entertainment, but we haven't mentioned World Endurance cars much in this discussion. To me, as someone who has had a passion for motor racing since those 60s and sharing a little bit of what I sense is your disaffection with Formula One right now, do you not see World Endurance cars as that rate of audience participation and appreciation growing as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very lucky that I'm associated with both championships, with two different manufacturers, obviously DS Virgin Racing in Formula E and being a factory Ferrari driver in the World Endurance Championship. It's a completely different skill set, but I love my job with Ferrari as well. To be associated with that brand is stuff of dreams. To wear that logo is very special, I've got to say, as a young man, to get your check through the post with that emblem on is pretty cool. That series has gone from strength to strength as well. I think for a different reason. This has grown because it's new and it's innovative and it's cool. It's quite hip and quite young, fresh. WEC, I think, has grown because, of course, they're serious motor cars, but also because of the slight decline in interest in Formula One. I think the WEC has gained because of what F1 is going through currently. I wouldn't say that the Formula E success is because of that. I think it's for different reasons.
Sam, hi. Can you tell us a bit about the simulator race, the video game situation on Sunday morning?
Okay. It's the e-racing. So during the race weekend or the race day, it's a really, really busy day for us drivers. We've got many things going on. Firstly, the DS Virgin Racing media team like to literally keep me so that I've got no spare minutes ever, which is great for me. I don't whinge at all. But every day, just after my 1 minute lunch break that I get, I'm shuttled off to go and do an e-race. So it's like a simulator race against the other drivers and up against some competition winners or some fans, or actually some professional simulator drivers. And they always beat us. We never get close, ever. But it's great, you know. You look at the you look at how many people view YouTube, you look at how many people are gaming, and it's insane. The views on YouTube, the gaming, the online gaming, the Xboxes of the world, and now your mobile gaming. It's a massive industry, and it's very clever that Formula E is slowly tapping into that. In fact, we've got a race in January in Las Vegas. It's a simulator race, one-off race, winner $1 million. You know, it's trying to prove that this is a really big untapped industry that we should be delving into. No, I need to buy an Xbox. If anybody wants to buy me one, then that'd be great. Christmas.
This weekend is Jaguar's inaugural Formula E race with Mitch Evans and Adam Carroll. Is this going to be a big wake-up call for those two guys? Mitch Evans is from New Zealand. Adam Carroll, he was the A1GP champion at one point. Is this going to really hit them hard when they get into a Formula E car?
No, I think that those two guys will be fine. I have massive respect for not only Mitch and Adam, but everybody on the grid. There's not one driver on this racing grid that I would say is out of place. Mitch is a GP2 race winner. Adam was a GP2 race winner. They've both been associated with either Formula One teams or World Endurance Championship LMP1 teams within recent history. I'm sure that those two guys will be just fine. It's more a case of if Jaguar as a team can be up to speed as quickly as the proven teams like Renault and Abt and hopefully us. That's going to be the bigger question. I think that it might take them a couple of rounds, but for sure they'll be quick. You know, relatively quickly within the start of the season.
Sam, just as we're one question there, yeah.
Just wondering about the expansion of Formula E, whether the plans are to have a 20-race season like in Formula One.
Alejandro Agag would dearly love to expand the series, whether that's making more races or having races on Saturdays and Sundays with 10 events, or having maybe 15 or 18 events spread out through the year, because it is so popular. There's so many cities vying for these races to happen in their streets. It's just a case of trying to fit them in around the other series as well. What we don't want as drivers, obviously, is for Formula E events to clash with World Endurance Championship events, because then we've got a bit of an issue. If we can carefully negotiate, the two, then I think that if the calendar expands, that would be great for everybody.
Sam, just one final point before we wrap up. Obviously, everybody here, I hope a lot of you are actually going to this event at the weekend, and everybody can help you win. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us what this fan boost thing is?
Right. So the fan boost, this started from season 1. Basically, you can go online on social media, and you can basically vote for your favorite driver. If that driver is in the top 3 at the end of voting, which is I think ends 5 minutes before the start of the race, if they're in the top 3 with the amount of votes that they've collected over the course of the 2-week period before the race, they will get an extra little bit of power during the race. They'll only get it once, but it might be the difference between if you're stuck in second right behind the guy and can't overtake, and getting past him. It gives you that little bit of extra power. So it's 200 kilowatts instead of 170 for 3 seconds. That's it. But it just makes the difference to try and overtake. So a lot of effort is put into fan boost. It also gives the fans some kind of pride or sense of satisfaction that if they voted for their favourite driver and they use it to their advantage to do an overtake, to score more points, to win a race or be on the podium, gives them a sense of pride. And I think that's a nice thing about Formula E, the fact that the fan can feel so involved, whereas in other sports they can't be so involved. They can actually have a direct influence on the outcome of their favourite driver's race. So if you feel like it, #FanBoost, #Sam Bird on your social media. Don't do hashtag Lucas Degrassi or anything like that, because I won't be too happy.
Sounds like a complicated way to get 30 kilograms of energy, but
Kilowatts.
Kilowatts. Shows how much I know.
That's
about
good,
it.
Tim. Cheers.
Okay, Sam, thank you very much. I think we've all sort of learnt a bit more about what's going to go on this weekend. It's probably not going to go with that shirt, but I'd like to present you with an FCC tie.